is Global Entrepreneurship Month. It's a time to celebrate those brave souls who wake up each morning with the drive to build products and services aimed at making the lives of you and I much easier and more productive. In many ways, present-day luxuries were built by entrepreneurs. Their drive helped set up products that we take for granted, from the microchip to the jet engine. Entrepreneurs have changed the way we live our lives and shaped our futures. But we often forget the hoops they have to jump through just to get issues or things like financing to get those businesses off the ground. Now, this month is aimed at creating awareness for entrepreneurship, innovation and leadership throughout the world. To talk more about this, earlier in the week, we also saw some university graduates protesting against the lack of jobs in the country. And we ask, are our university and college graduates equipped to start their own businesses, or are they mainly just focused on getting employed? With me, I have Wasim Karim from the National Youth Development Agency, Nwabisa Makumule, an entrepreneur and managing director at Lumamu Consulting. A very good afternoon to you both. And I want to begin with you, Nwabisa. Just in that introduction, I spoke about how students this past week were up in arms saying universities aren't preparing them for life as a possible entrepreneur. In fact, that has been the frequent criticism of our education system, that we prepare people to go into the workplace but not to start their own things. Did you find the same challenge when you were coming up?
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, certainly, and I fully agree with what the students were protesting for, because there are other opportunities that are made available at university, like students could get involved in sports. I, for one, was not a sporting person. I was the one who was selling the sweets, selling soaps, doing things that I can make extra cash. So it was with me the whole time. So definitely there isn't much that is being done, not even at university. I think it's something that should start from the early foundations.
Wasim, the NYDA, this is where you come in. What are you doing to make things better for young people who want to go into business?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, South Africa, if you look at the global statistics, we rank very low in terms of total entrepreneurial activity in the world, which means we don't have much of an entrepreneurship culture. To be able to stimulate entrepreneurship amongst young people, we've conceptualized a model that puts young people into the training to give them the basic financial skills they need, the basic business management skills that they need. And then we do a unique development finance model. So we give grants, not loans, yeah, to try and really stimulate this entrepreneurship, get young people out there and investing in their businesses. But we really target micro enterprises. We give grants up to 250,000. We also give young people a mentor, because mentorship is a critical part in your first-time venture. And then we do post-disbursement support. So we don't just leave you out there. We try and support you through this entrepreneurship journey to make sure you succeed, come and contribute meaningfully to the economy.
I want to speak about these grants, because that wasn't always the case with the NYDA. Previously, you had a fixed loan structure. What inspired or what informed the change to this grant system, and have you seen the desired results?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look, every year we were impairing 90%, 99% of our loans, you know. So essentially we were giving grants anyway. But we felt that a loan system is a very capitalist-driven model, yeah? And we have social imbalances that we need to correct in the country, which is why we moved towards that grant model. You don't want to burden a first-time entrepreneur with a heavy loan, you know, that they need to pay back. So we do monitoring and evaluation of our grants. The first M&E test we did was after 2 years of implementation, and we were seeing about a 48% success rate, 24% break-even rate, and about 28% failure rate, which compares pretty favorably with the rest of the world. Recently, we did another study. We went back and we investigated 163 of these businesses. And to my surprise, we found that every single one of those businesses was still functional 2 years post-disbursement. They may not be doing as well as they thought they would, but they're still functional, yeah? Which tells us we've got kind of a better model going than when we were doing loans before that.
Nwabisa, when you started out all those years ago, did you find the likes of the NYDA particularly helpful?
Oh, actually, I haven't started many years ago. I started quite recently. My company, yes, was registered about 5 years back, but it's only last year that I started working full-time in the business.
And was help at hand for you when you finally decided to go into business?
To make an example with the NYDA, I've recently received a voucher. They've got a voucher program. So I received a voucher in terms of the financial systems, because finances is something that I'm really not good with within my business, and it can actually make or break the business. So it's what I wanted to start with, which is helping for now. However, what I feel basically in terms of what needs to happen is these funders, they need to understand that we as the entrepreneurs, we're doing everything on our own. So I appreciate that there's the support that comes, but I think what limits us from getting these is actually the time and understanding the requirement prior. For example, what is needed for us to get the grant.
And Wasim, that's a very important point that Nwabisa points to, doesn't it? That she was able to identify an area of weakness for her, which is the finance bit, and organizations like yourselves have had to, in time, come to the realization that no entrepreneur is the same to the next, and you need to tailor-make the various products for each kind of entrepreneur.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you have to be able to do that without spreading yourself too thin as well, you know. So for us, it's about creating an environment where entrepreneurs can succeed. So the voucher program she speaks about has different products. So you may be good at, you need to focus on selling your product, yeah, but you may need to place adverts. You need to do it through a market consultancy. So we look at different aspects where you may need support to take your business to the next level, and we try and support you in that. But within that system, we don't hold the monopoly of wisdom in that. So we try and outsource these functions to third parties. So we also assist other businesses in benefiting from this ecosystem.
Give us an insight, Nwabisa, into the life of a black female entrepreneur in particular.
Well, Tembekile, it's quite tough, I must say, because you face so many lonely moments and you are filled with questions like, really, should I have gone down this route? It is not an easy route. Being a black female, one of the services that we offer within our company is professional conference organizing. And going out there to clients, one of the things that I've found is that this service, clients relate to it as more of a service that was always offered by white women. So I was once in an event, and this gentleman, a black gentleman, bought over a company which I know to have been white-owned. And he says that he had started that business, which is professional conference organizing, but no one was supporting him. It's only when he went under this name, which clients thinking that it's still white-owned, that it is now thriving. So those are the challenges that we face as black women. And as women in general, we do face many challenges. We have to sleep late at night, wake up early, and look after the families while we are running the business, because the business is the baby itself. You have to see it grow from inception right until, and you have to wait for about a good 5 years before you can see the returns. So definitely the challenges are there. And in terms of, as a business, we face with other challenges such as corporates not paying or companies not paying in time.
Wasim, are you then as the NYDA alive to the challenges that are unique to the black female entrepreneur, and how do you then bridge that gap?
Yeah, so I mean, a big part of it is access to market. Entrepreneurs need an access to market, yeah? And we consistently work with big corporations, with the public sector, in breaking down these barriers that young entrepreneurs face. So a lot of it is us going to corporates and saying, this is a database of youth entrepreneurs. Right? If you're really committed to making a difference in this country, you're not going to keep buying from the same caterer that you usually do. You're not going to buy from the same consultant. It's about you making a difference. Yeah? So when the president asked big business to commit, we're the ones on the ground out there, you know, profiling these youth entrepreneurs, getting their access to market for them, so that we break down some of these barriers, you know. And as South Africans, we also need to focus on a campaign of supporting local youth entrepreneurs, because I think it's critical to growing the economy.
Put numbers to all this assistance that you've provided for us. How much have you spent, and does the number correlate with the returns?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the NYDA specifically, right? Last 3 years, we've dispersed about 2,500 grants. So we supported 2,500 new startups. Looking from a monetary perspective, you're probably looking at about 125 million rand in that there. But compare this to the situation out there. You're talking about 6 million young people not in employment, education, or training. I would say you need to be closer to supporting 500,000 to 1 million new entrepreneurs out there. So we agree that what we're doing is just testing the water. Yeah, it's for us to take this program, show it works, and raise additional funding out there so we can support more youth entrepreneurs. But it's also about the capital markets. For example, your banks in South Africa don't support startup entrepreneurs. It's just too risky for them. But tax legislation, Section 12J, is pretty progressive in allowing companies to claim back taxes if they're willing to invest in new ventures. Yeah. So it's also about the private sector coming on board and putting together venture capital funds, startup capital funds, so we have greater capital market for entrepreneurs to be able to access.
So back to you, Nabisa. You talk, Wasim speaks about the private sector and how it needs to come to the party. Have you seen that happen in your experience? And I'm also interested in what you have done as far as building a network around you, not only of entrepreneurs at your level, but those who have less than that you have, who have to work from their homes, for example, and have to run much smaller scale operations.
It's actually something that I do on a daily basis in terms of networking with people who actually in this position that you've just mentioned. So I have a network of women. We are the Sister Business Network. So we communicate and share ideas daily and the challenges that we face. So definitely I do network. I also go out and look at opportunities that are available for me. And currently now I did receive a sponsorship from Johnson & Johnson. Mm-hmm. So slowly and surely, if you go out there and look for opportunities and get yourself in the networks that the corporates are in, so basically one can do more if they go out there. So I am putting myself out there. I also encourage other entrepreneurs to actually not sit and think that things are going to happen, even finding out about the grants. I know sometimes we feel that we just go to these platforms and we walk out with nothing. But if you go there with a strategy and you go there with a goal, then you will know that these are the opportunities that you can form part of. It's not always easy in the beginning, but definitely you can get something out of it. So I am personally pushing myself, which goes back to the challenges that I mentioned, that you don't just sit and things happen. It's unlike working for an organization. You actually have to go out there and read, okay, this organization, like one I mentioned, they have this and this opportunity. How can I get myself in there? What is NYDA doing? I've always heard about NYDA. What is it that I can still get from the NYDA? So one needs to align themselves and put themselves out there.
And I want to speak about the NYDA, Wasim, because there was a period when the NYDA had quite the bad reputation in South Africa. Can you sit here today and confidently say to Nwabisa and I and the rest of South Africa that the NYDA has now finally completely cleaned itself up and it is an NYDA that we can trust to live up to its aims and objectives?
Yeah, Temikile, I joined the NYDA in 2014, at the height of some of the crisis that you speak about, and I'm proud to say that the NYDA has got 4 successive clean audits from the Auditor General, which is, in the public sector, only 20% of entities are getting clean audits here, Last year, you guys report irregular expenditure. The NYDA in total, 2018 financial year, had only 3,000 Rand in irregular expenditure. And it's an institution which has a board of young people. Its executive management is made up of young people. So we do try and ensure that young people can lead when they're given the opportunity to do so. So I'm happy to say that we have turned the corner. And part of what's very important to us is being a credible and capable institution for young people in South Africa.
Nwabisa Makumule, an entrepreneur, as well as Wasim Karim from the National Youth Development Agency. Thank you so much to you both.